Have you ever picked up your phone without even realizing it? One moment, you're working, studying, or spending time with family. The next moment, you're scrolling through social media, checking notifications, or watching videos you never intended to watch. Or maybe you've walked into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, stared inside for a few seconds, and then closed it without taking anything. Why do we do these things? Why do some habits seem impossible to break while others never seem to stick? Most people believe habits are simply a matter of discipline. They think successful people have stronger willpower, better self-control, or more motivation. But psychology tells a different story. The truth is that many of your daily actions are running on autopilot. In fact, a significant portion of your day is guided not by conscious decisions, but by habits that operate beneath your awareness. And here's what makes this fascinating. The habits shaping your happiness, productivity, health, finances, and relationships are often hidden in ordinary moments, so small that you barely notice them. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden psychology behind everyday habits. By the end of this video, you'll start seeing your daily routines differently, understand why your brain loves habits so much, and discover how small changes can create surprisingly powerful results. Because once you understand the psychology behind your habits, you gain the power to change them. Let's begin. Imagine if every action required a conscious decision. You wake up. You must decide how to get out of bed, how to brush your teeth, how to tie your shoes, how to walk, how to drive, how to make coffee. Life would be exhausting. Fortunately, the brain is designed to save energy. One of the brain's primary goals is efficiency. Every day, your brain processes enormous amounts of information. To avoid becoming overwhelmed, it creates shortcuts. Those shortcuts become habits. A habit is essentially a behavior that your brain has automated. Once a behavior becomes automatic, your brain can perform it with minimal effort. This is why experienced drivers can navigate familiar roads while thinking about completely different things. It's why you can type your password without consciously remembering every character. It's why many people automatically reach for their phones during moments of boredom. The brain prefers automation because automation conserves mental energy. From an evolutionary perspective, conserving energy helped our ancestors survive. The less effort required for routine tasks, the more energy remained available for dealing with unexpected challenges. Thousands of years later, your brain still operates according to many of those same principles. The problem is that the brain doesn't distinguish between useful habits and harmful habits. It simply repeats whatever behaviors become familiar. Whether it's exercising every morning or checking social media every 5 minutes, the mechanism is remarkably similar. Your brain says, "We've done this before. Let's do it again." And the more often you repeat a behavior, the stronger that mental pathway becomes. Most habits begin with something psychologists call a cue. A cue is a trigger. It's the signal that tells your brain to begin a specific behavior. Think about your own life. The sound of an alarm may trigger your morning routine. The smell of coffee may trigger a craving. A notification sound may trigger the urge to check your phone. A stressful email may trigger anxiety. A comfortable couch may trigger television watching. What's interesting is that many people focus only on the habit itself. They want to stop snacking, stop procrastinating, stop overspending, stop scrolling. But they ignore the cue. Imagine trying to stop a river by blocking the water after it has already started flowing. It's much easier to understand where the water begins. The same principle applies to habits. If you want to understand the behavior, look for the trigger that comes before it. Often, the cue is not obvious. Sometimes the trigger is a location. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's an emotion. Sometimes it's simply a specific time of day. A person who snacks every evening may not actually be hungry. The real cue could be boredom after work. Someone who constantly checks social media may not be interested in the content. The cue may be the discomfort of waiting in line or sitting quietly. When you learn to identify cues, you gain valuable insight into your own behavior. You stop asking, "Why am I doing this?" and start asking, "What triggered this?" That question often changes everything. Here's a surprising truth. Habits are not driven by the behavior itself. They're driven by the reward that follows. Your brain constantly asks a simple question. What's in this for me? Every habit provides some form of reward, even bad habits. That's why they persist. Consider emotional eating. The reward isn't the food alone. The reward might be temporary comfort, temporary distraction, temporary relief. Or consider excessive phone use. The reward may be novelty, entertainment, connection, validation, or simply escaping boredom. The brain remembers rewards. When a reward feels good, the brain releases chemicals that reinforce the behavior. Over time, your brain learns. When this cue appears, perform this action because a reward is coming. This process gradually becomes automatic. What's fascinating is that eventually, the brain begins anticipating the reward before it arrives. That's where cravings emerge. The craving is not necessarily for the action itself. The craving is for the feeling the action creates. And once cravings become established, habits become much more powerful. This is why understanding rewards is essential. When trying to change a habit, don't focus only on eliminating a behavior. Understand the reward it's providing. Because if the reward remains important, the brain will continue searching for ways to obtain it. Human beings often believe they seek happiness. But psychologically, people frequently seek familiarity first, even when familiarity isn't helping them. The brain loves predictable patterns. Predictability feels safe. This explains why people sometimes remain stuck in routines they dislike. A person may hate their daily schedule, yet continue repeating it. Someone may complain about unhealthy habits, yet struggle to change them. Not because change is impossible, but because the familiar feels comfortable. The unknown requires effort, attention, risk. Your brain naturally prefers what it already knows. This isn't weakness. It's human psychology. The challenge is recognizing when familiarity is preventing growth. Many positive changes initially feel uncomfortable. Exercise can feel uncomfortable. Learning new skills can feel uncomfortable. Building confidence can feel uncomfortable. But discomfort doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. Often, it means you're moving beyond automatic behavior. And that's where growth begins. One of the most powerful discoveries in behavioral psychology is that habits are deeply connected to identity. People often focus on outcomes. They say, I want to lose weight. I want to save money. I want to become productive. Those goals are valuable, but lasting change often happens when identity changes first. Instead of saying, I want to exercise, a person begins saying, I am someone who takes care of my health. Instead of saying, I want to write, they begin saying, I am a writer. This subtle shift matters because people naturally behave in ways that support their identities. When an action aligns with who you believe you are, it becomes easier to repeat. When an action conflicts with your identity, resistance appears. Your habits become votes for the type of person you believe yourself to be. Every action sends a message. Every repetition strengthens that message. Over time, identity and habits reinforce each other. The more evidence you create, the more believable the identity becomes. And the stronger the identity becomes, the easier the habit feels. Many people underestimate small habits because they focus on dramatic results. But psychology teaches us something important. The brain responds strongly to consistency, not just intensity. A person who reads 10 pages every day may eventually finish dozens of books. A person who saves a small amount consistently may build significant financial security. A person who walks daily may dramatically improve their health over time. The reason small habits matter is because they reduce resistance. Large changes often feel intimidating. Small actions feel manageable. And manageable actions get repeated. Repetition is where transformation occurs. Not in one extraordinary day, but in hundreds of ordinary days. Most remarkable outcomes begin as tiny behaviors repeated consistently. The challenge is that results are often invisible at first. People quit because they don't see immediate progress. Yet beneath the surface, change is already happening. The habit is becoming stronger. The identity is evolving. The foundation is forming. Patience is part of the process. Many people believe success comes from strong willpower, but psychology repeatedly shows that environment is incredibly powerful. Your surroundings shape your behavior more than you may realize. If unhealthy snacks are visible, you're more likely to eat them. If your phone sits beside your bed, you're more likely to check it. If books are visible, you're more likely to read. If exercise equipment is easily accessible, you're more likely to use it. The environment constantly provides cues, and cues influence behavior. This is good news, because changing your environment is often easier than relying on endless self. Instead of fighting temptation every day, redesign the space around you. Make good habits obvious. Make bad habits inconvenient. Small environmental changes can create surprisingly large behavioral changes. The most effective habit builders often don't have superhuman discipline. They have systems that make positive behavior easier. Perhaps the most important lesson of all is awareness. Habits thrive in unconsciousness. They flourish when behaviors happen automatically. The moment you become aware of a habit, you create the possibility of change. Awareness interrupts autopilot. It creates a pause. And within that pause exists choice. You may not control every thought that enters your mind, but you can become more aware of your patterns. You can notice triggers, notice rewards, notice environments, notice emotional states. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is observation, because awareness is where transformation begins. Every meaningful change starts with noticing something that previously went unnoticed. The hidden psychology behind everyday habits is both simple and profound. Your brain seeks efficiency. Cues trigger behaviors. Rewards reinforce actions. Familiarity creates comfort. Identity shapes choices. Consistency builds change. Environment influences behavior, and awareness creates freedom. The habits that shape your future aren't always dramatic. They're often hidden inside ordinary moments. A glance at your phone, a decision at breakfast, a choice during stress, a small action repeated again and again. These moments may seem insignificant, but over months and years, they become the architecture of your life. The encouraging news is that you don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need perfect discipline. You don't need endless motivation. You simply need to understand the system. Because once you understand how habits work, you can begin designing them intentionally. And when small actions align with the person you want to become, remarkable change becomes possible. So the next time you catch yourself repeating a routine, pause for a moment and ask, what? You started this. What reward am I seeking? What kind of person is this habit helping me become? The answers may reveal far more about your life than you ever expected, and they may be the first step toward becoming the person you truly want to be.